voice. It's
No, not this
sending
time.
data. Yeah, I mean, do you want me to? I can.
No, but is it like over time, like after 30 minutes of speaking in Catboy voice,
No,
will
I
it
can.
froze?
It's not that bad. I can actually do it, by the way. I have the capability to do so.
Oh, you've trained, you've built up.
I have built up. I'm able to use the Catboy voice for a long, quite some time. Let's see my bit rate.
Exercising every day.
What the fuck does it say? Uh, your bit rate is out of range recommended for Twitch. What? Let me check my Twitch on my No, you need 6,000 bit rate for Twitch. What are you talking about? I'm actually gonna check it just to see if it's working fine. Because if I oh yeah, I'm gonna open it on here since it doesn't matter. Okay, let's see. Make sure that the video is completely fine. Yeah, looks like it. It's not like we're gaming, you know.
No,
So yeah,
no.
it's working completely fine. Well, I can game, by the way, but we're not going to because we're meant to be talking about chemistry topics here. All right,
Mm-hmm.
man,
So what?
I can actually see the amount of viewers on both platforms. That's nice. So you can share your screen. You can talk about random topics. I can talk about topics. So the first thing I'm gonna talk about is, oh hi, what's up? Who joined? Nice, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the podcast, and talk about your various chemistry experiments. Oh wow,
Yeah, you can do your own suggestions too in the chat
yeah.
if you'd like.
If you like, of course. One of the main things that I'm gonna talk about today is my iron synthesis was technically electrowinning. To be honest, you can do that with almost any metal, except for certain metals like aluminum. You cannot do this with aluminum, try as you might, because aluminum is an amphoteric metal. It will react, you know, if you use it as both an anode and a cathode. If you can use the metal as a cathode in an aqueous solution, it will work. However, if the metal does not work as a cathode in an aqueous solution, then it will not work. However, there are some organic solvents that actually make it very possible to work with you know the stuff. So those are a big possibility, by the way. It actually all depends on you know the reaction,
Yeah,
the
I get it.
conditions. Let me change this because I'd rather have it
And
so.
how about like it's not really a metal, but for example, sodium or potassium.
Oh yeah, the thing about sodium and potassium is that those things require non-aqueous conditions. And those are metals. What are you talking about?
Mm, yeah, they are, but
They
not
are
really.
metals. They're alkali metals. They're completely considered to be metals. So you can talk about your plants as well, man. So
Um, well, the next upcoming plan is to make certain stuff with lead nitrate.
ah,
I've already acquired the lead nitrate. Now it's only time for me to acquire some sodium azide to make possibly lead azide or styphnate or some other energetics, what you
ah,
can really do with lead nitrate. I've also looked into some literature from the 1900s, and there it was noted in a um, prior work book as a manual that lead nitrate can be substituted with black powder if you mix it with sulfur and just charcoal in strong.
ah. That sounds extremely cursed, honestly. I would not do that. I mean, it does make sense, but a transition metal being used as an oxidizer, like a transition metal salt, sounds very cursed. Especially
But the
with the.
worst part, I think,
What's the
the
worst
worst
part?
part is that if it explodes in the air, you have fine falling lead oxide or lead metal
I
falling
mean,
out of it.
fireworks themselves have the worst additives in them. So I wouldn't even be surprised. That does not surprise me at all that that's a fact.
Yeah, but that's usually some copper to make it blue or some manganese to make it purple, but not at the same caliber as, for example, lead, which just messes up the whole environment and economic systems.
I mean, yeah, but
Like
like that is
like if you
yeah, I guess I can agree with you on that. The problem is lead is, very toxic and in the air it can cause issues.
yeah, well, not especially in the air, but just when it falls down. Like lead metal isn't even that bad, but for example, it's salts or oxides which can split into
Oh yeah.
lead ions. For example, when it falls down on a pond with lovely little fish and water plants, even if you put a pinch of some lead in the water, the the microbes and the bacteria levels will fluctuate to the point where it really disturbs the balance that it has in the pond. So it's not really eco-friendly.
Nope.
But I do wish to try it out, although not on the same scale as they mention it in the book with 50 grams of a strobe rocket.
Yeah, definitely. The thing is, I know some strobe rockets recipes. In fact, I made one by accident. What I did
And
was some potassium chlorate, right, and silicone glue, like what Thoisoy did, right. But I've also added some sodium citrate because that's a burn rate accelerator in my other compositions. Because it's similar to whistle mix, where you add uh, like a salt of carboxylic acid, such as sodium benzate or any of those. Sodium citrate works as well, by the way. So what I ended up doing was mixing potassium chlorate, uh, like that silicone glue, and sodium citrate. Right? I forgot
what's
the
the
I forgot the ratio. Actually, I just fucked around. I wasn't even being serious. I was just like, the silicone is dead weight, but I don't care. I'm gonna try it out anyway. So I made a rocket out of a mysterious ratio of those three guys. I've also added a bit of sugar. I don't really remember at all what the hell I put in this thing. Anyway, I let it cure, right? I core it already, all done. It was a nice, like, hard putty that's not that sticky anymore. So after curing, I put the nozzle was already on it because it's an inverted. I just have to cap the rocket. The nozzle is made of bentonite. I put a stick on it and I lit it. What ended up happening was as it flew, it would like go on and off and go putta 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 putta. It was strobing. So the fact that it was able to actually strobe means that I somehow created a strobe rocket by accident. I was like,
right?
what the hell? And it does not contain any dichromates or lead. It's basically a lead free strobe rocket. I could not
Yeah,
replicate it, by the way.
yeah, okay. Well, I have a question. What is actually, for example, you mentioned the potassium perchlorate and the sugar because that's just a common rocket fuel mix. But
Yeah,
what's the point of the silica in it?
that the silica. I just decided to use a binder that's cheap and easy to work with instead of
Oh, I see. A
epoxy.
binder.
It's cost,
That's
really.
a
It's
why didn't
cost.
you use? Yeah, why didn't you just bake? For example, what's the
No baking. It's chlorate. Are you serious? You're telling me to
no.
bake
With the
chlorate.
chloride,
Oh,
I forgot to name it in English, but there's some baking powder which, if you bake it, it turns into this binder which is commonly used for
I know what it is,
cooking.
erythritol. You can technically, or dextrin. You mean dextrin.
Yeah, that one.
I mean,
What's
I
what's the precursor
could.
called in English? My English
Starch.
vocabulary
It's just
is
starch. I could have used that, yes, but I didn't. Anyway, What I'm saying right now is technically the silicone glue actually was the reason why it strobe. You know why? Because I have tested mixes involving silicone and potassium chlorate. After curing, I noticed something funny. When they're lit, they actually produce ash, which is silicon dioxide and potassium carbonate.
Yeah,
Like it forms a solid ash that's a spongy form of glass. Now, that's actually
okay.
funny. You can actually produce quite pure silicon dioxide just by a pyrotechnic mixture, maybe for other purposes such as refractory mixes. As hilarious as that sounds, you could. Because I got ultra fine silicon dioxide from this pyrotechnic mixture, and it doesn't come out, some of it does come out as a smoke. So the smoke is extremely hazardous. But the ash left over is actually a useful product. I might
Yeah,
revisit it just simply from that. I have a tube of silicone that's going bad. Might as well burn it and produce a refractory mix for a furnace. Like, actually, I might even try that. That's a great idea. I
that's
mean,
a great suggestion.
people have actually made some funny, mixes for furnaces. One of them involves making a type of bread, I believe. They literally converted bread into carbon foam. Like, that's hilarious.
That sounds like something I need to try out.
Like it can withstand very high temperatures, by the way.
Yeah, because it's mostly air, probably.
Yeah,
Just foam.
just foam in air. I have to apparently 6000 kbps is out of range for 720p. I'm think I can lower the bit rate, which will also improve performance in gaming streams as
Yeah.
well. I'm
I
gonna
saw
do
someone in
that as
the
well.
I saw someone in the YouTube chat said saying that the Discord audio is really quiet.
Oh shit. I'll fix that. Thank you. No, that's not because of the bit rate. 1 second. Where the fuck is it? Uh, uh, uh. Oh shit! Discord audio wasn't even enabled. Wow. Now you can talk. Tell me if you're audible. Just
Yeah, yeah.
talk. There we go. See, I'm sorry. Oh my god.
Well, is it fixed now?
Yeah, it's fixed now. Oh my god. So no one was able to hear anything for a while. See, this is the thing. That's why I need some people to see if everything was working fine. Not only now is it working fine.
Oh, that's great. So do I need to repeat so are we gonna repeat the whole story again? Or for example the
Doesn't matter.
strobe
We
drop?
move on.
Yeah, okay. So move to what? Do you have anything interesting in mind
Okay,
for us
one of my
next?
interesting topics, by the way, is
Yeah, no, I meant like just upcoming experiments that you want to
upcoming
do in this episode.
experiments. So, in the past, I accidentally made a really high quality sodium hypochlorite at elevated temperatures with very little chlorate in it. Do you know how I was able
How
to
did
do that? I made a very bad leaking membrane cell before that essentially it was complete shit. It would leak like crap, but that's actually good. It was a form of salt cake electrolysis where the anode chamber essentially was a oversaturated sodium chloride solution, right?
yeah.
We would like salt cake at the bottom in a pump, which pumped in the salt to ensure everything kept saturated. There was also a pump in the cathode chamber, which created turbulence to allow even mixing. This was used as a chlorine generator for the HCl photochemical reactor, which was in the past. But I noticed that because the membrane started to fail, I ended up mixing the highly concentrated anodic chlorine soda, as I call it, into the concentrated sodium hydroxide at the cathode chamber, and I just left it alone, and ended up producing highly concentrated hypochlorite solution at the cathode chamber, like highly concentrated.
And what did you do with it?
I just use it as a cleaning product. I mean, what else can I do with it?
Yeah, just make your homemade bleach from it.
Oh, it was really nice homemade bleach, by the way, which is why I want to repeat this experiment and with a properly bad setup. Like, I'm gonna make it bad on purpose, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But how do I make
Well,
something bad on purpose so that it works perfectly? That's what I don't know.
it seems like a very rare occasion,
Do you
but it
see?
must have smelled nice, the hypochlorite.
Oh yeah, it didn't smell like, when you run a chlorate cell, right? At the very end, there's like a faint hint of hypochlorite, not pH controlled. The like regular your amateur one, like there's a faint hint of bleach, and the bleach at the end is like fucking 3 to 5% or less, honestly. And it's saturated with chlorate, so it's basically useless for laundry applications or cleaning. You
Yeah.
don't want to use that for cleaning. But something interesting about it, by the way, the hypochlorite, you know, if you get quite pure hypochlorite with very little chlorate in it, you know why there was very
Mhm.
little chlorate in it? Because it formed at the cathode chamber.
Oh, did it?
And that means that any chlorate would have been reduced,
Okay.
provided I
You know
didn't
what
add any calcium chloride, which I
I'm looking
won't.
it up now, but you know what I recently did?
What?
Um, like Styropyro, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Just a YouTuber, and he made some. Here this purple parade torches with strontium nitrate, potassium perchlorate, black oxidized of copper, calomel, and sulfur.
He didn't
And I
use
don't know if you're.
calomel. He didn't use
Yes,
calomel.
exactly. That's what I wanted
You
to
just
talk about
need
because I did.
chlorine.
I
Honest.
did, and
Oh my
the results I
freaking
got.
god. What?
Yeah, no, I know it's a bit. I didn't do it anywhere near nature, but my flame was a lot more purple than his
But you do
because his was.
realize that that was the video.
Yeah,
You'd have to compare video with video because you can't compare the real life flame color with video flame color.
yeah, okay, that's kind of true, but I didn't record
If
it.
you
If I repeat it,
recorded it, then you can compare it. Otherwise, it's not fair.
yeah, but doesn't mercury salts burn with a slightest purple color?
Mercury salts, yeah, so it might have improved the purple, but of course,
I thought
let's,
the mercury was on the
yeah, yeah.
lower end of the spectrum, where sodium and stuff usually is more green, and potassium. Well, potassium is also blue, purple-ish.
Yeah, potassium is like pinkish, I believe.
Yeah.
Purple pink. Sodium is yellow. Lithium is red. I guess
Oh
it
yeah, yeah, that's
kind of
true.
makes sense. I think most of the
I'm
heavier nuclei have a very violet color. Most.
yeah,
There are some weird exceptions, man. I'm not too
yeah. I was
sure, by the way. I might be wrong here. Okay?
now I was just remembering the Now Red video where he put like different metals in the um, magnitude
Dude, but
machine,
like, come on.
the
Strontium
magnetron.
is red again and barium is green again.
Yeah,
I
okay, but
honestly
that's
don't know what gives, because from actually, I do know. The reason why you're getting these colored excitations from metals is actually a very surprising one, by the way. When you excite electrons, right? When you have
mm-hmm.
regular black body emission, you have this spontaneous excitation that occurs that then after a really, really, really short time, it goes back to the ground state and will essentially emit a photon proportional to the energy that excited it, or some shit like that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just reading
But,
about it.
but, I'm not reading, by the way. I'm remembering my university lecture from that fucking quantum physics shit that I went through university. This all in my head right now. Anyway, you can read and tell me how correct I am and or how wrong I am. I don't
No,
fucking
no, no.
know.
You're correct.
All right,
And what's
so
also fun to
um,
know is that
I'm
you
not done, by the way. I'm gonna say that to get the colors after an odd chance of like spontaneous excitation, sometimes the electron does not fall back to the ground state. It ends up going into this energy level, which is metastable right above the ground state. And this is where
Mm-hmm.
interesting things happen. When that electron then starts falling back to the ground state, you end up releasing a photon with a very specific wavelength. And that wavelength depends on the energy level of the metastable state. Like, I'm not, this is the principle of how lasers and LED lights work, but I'm fairly certain, if I remember correctly, this is also the same principle of why you get those weird flame colors with some of these elements.
Yeah.
Is it, or am
Can
I
you
crazy?
can you guess which color aluminum gives?
Uh, I don't know. Is it
It's
also
baby it's
like
baby blue.
blue? I was gonna say blue. Actually, speaking of aluminum, right? A lot of
Yeah.
people who run, like, two people have asked me, if you use calcium chloride as pH control in a chlorate cell,
Yeah.
what about it contaminating the potassium chloride, which will require recrystallizations, and you need several of those, losing so much product, right? However, I
Yeah.
have a solution. uh, you know how to pH control pure potassium chlorate electrolysis. I was struggling with this problem, thinking of how it can be done. I have a solution, by the way. You can't add sodium, you can't add calcium, but aluminum does not really affect the flame color of potassium salts. You know what that means? If you create
Tell
aluminum
me.
chloride, aqueous aluminum chloride, use it as a pH control buffer for potassium chloride electrolysis, you could get your sweet 89% efficiency using this method.
No, but doesn't aluminum chloride form an hydrate easily?
Yeah, that's what you
Yeah.
want.
So
You're using the hydrate. You're not using the anhydrous one.
okay. Now I thought you just said that you need to use the anhydrous aluminum chloride.
No, 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 no. You need the hydrate. You don't use the
Yeah. Okay.
anhydrous. Anyway, I
And the
have
heptahydrate
tested
and the
it.
hexahydrate, then
It
I guess,
doesn't
right?
matter. It doesn't matter what hydrate you use. It's going to be dissolved in water anyway. The whole job of the pH buffer is to hold on to the chlorine, right? And it reacts in
Mhm.
the cathode, forming an oxide which is insoluble. And it essentially, this oxide formation prevents the pH from rising, as well as the liberation of chlorine also prevents the pH from rising. So it acts as a chlorine donor and also something to remove the hydroxy ions in solution in order to prevent pH from rising. It
Yeah.
limits their concentration. This is why it's better than using hydrochloric acid as pH control. And it can be and actually something interesting is you can actually replenish the ions I mean you can replenish the chloride ions by adding hydrochloric acid, and unlike an untreated electrolyte, which if you add hydrochloric acid to just plain sodium hypochlorite, sodium chloride, electrolyte mixture, it will just release chlorine and gas you. That's not good.
Yeah.
But if you have calcium or aluminum ions, they will actually be able to hold on to those a little better while in solution, which is why buffers are really good. They're the holy grail of chlorate cells because they allow you to have very high industrial levels of efficiency using a home setup.
Mm-hmm. And do you do any organic chemistry on your channel too?
Uh, well, I did that as an internship, but I haven't done much organic chemistry on my channel. If I had the equipment, I would. I'm not too shabby at it.
Yeah. Okay.
The problem with
Because as you
organic
were,
chemistry is it's
as you
very
were,
fucking slow. You have to be gradual, and your yield is gonna be shit. Like, the more steps you
yeah,
do, the worse it gets, man. Like,
especially in multiple step
4 steps
synthesis, it's
in,
gonna
you have
decrease.
like what, 15, 30% yield, or 30 if you're lucky. 15 is like standard. It also depends
Yeah,
on
it's
the
kind of true.
reaction. Like, the moment you hear decarboxylation, all hell just breaks loose. You do that reaction, you're gonna get tar, you're gonna get like some product, and you're gonna get a lot of crap. So
Not to
decarboxylation
mention not to
is,
mention the endless
oh
recrystallizations of clean
no,
that you have to do.
dude, fuck it. I'm just gonna do chromatography. I don't even care. Get my silicon column in high pressure. I wonder if I can use a car air compressor as my what you call that, to or does it have
Yeah.
to pump liquid? I mean, I'll be honest, I could probably get away with a pressure washer diaphragm pump if it's compatible with the solvent I'm using, but I don't think they are. Honestly,
Hmm.
the way I'd run a chromatography column is like this. I'd have a canister rated for the pressure, right?
Yeah.
I'd have a hose, all right? I put the
Yeah.
solvent into that canister and I'd
Yeah.
run my air compressor and push air downwards to create enough pressure to displace the liquid. It
Yeah.
it will work. The problem is liquids are theoretically incompressible. So you need to pump in a lot of air to displace a little bit of liquid. In fact, it's more economical to pump in a liquid to displace the liquid, which is why I wonder if those pressure washer diaphragm pumps are compatible with chromatography solvents. Is anyone in the chat know if that's possible? Like, if you were to do column chromatography at high pressure, what, I mean, there are a lot of solvents you can use, but would you put it through a diaphragm pump? That's what I wonder. Am I crazy for doing that, or am I sensible? Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So, I'm just wondering because that stuff's very important. Anyway, moving on. Oh my god, I didn't expect chromatography to appear. Most
yeah.
of the internships I did involved distillation of oils. I mean, chemical engineering. No shit.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Coming coming back at aluminium trichloride, for example,
yeah.
I'm
What about
planning to
it?
maybe prepare it to use it in some Fidelcraft's alkylation
I think you
for
need
from
the
benzene, and
anhydrous
then to make.
version. You need the anhydrous version for that, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah, yeah, I know, because the water will really
Ah,
mess it
yeah,
up. But
yeah.
then I can do some aromatic
You know,
chemistry and not.
honestly, if you're gonna do alkylation with benzene, right? Why are you
Yeah.
bothering to prepare the aluminum chloride? Why
No, no,
not?
no. That's just the fun of it.
I
It's
know,
it's
but
the
like I
whole
was
route.
thinking, you could technically just put aluminum powder into your reaction vessel, and adding the aluminum powder plus adding the chlorine will generate it in situ, and it's already going to be pre-dried, and you won't have to
So
deal with,
so
having to
so as a
generate
one
horribly
pot
fuming
synthesis, you
liquid.
mean?
Yeah, literally one pot it, and the yield will be identical. Like, are you gonna bother with adding aluminum chloride that you're gonna then
Yeah, you're
worry
making
about
me question
fuming?
it a little bit right now.
I'm
Wait,
literally helping you here.
let me see my notes real
Yeah,
quick.
go
I have it
fix your
somewhere.
notes because I'll be honest with you, it's a lot more economical, a lot more safer. Because you do not want to inhale aluminum oxide. That's
No.
just as bad as silicon dioxide in your lungs. You also do not want to inhale the HCl vapors it produces. So by doing everything in situ, by literally bubbling dry chlorine through aluminum powder or aluminum shavings, which are fine enough, or maybe bubble some HCl gas through it first just to remove the oxide layer, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that will work as well. And then the rest of it will be chlorine. That will be enough to essentially keep your reaction going. But I honestly think chlorine will be enough. Like I'm pretty sure
No,
you
no,
can.
I was wrong. It wasn't aluminium trichloride. It was aluminium triiodide.
Okay, okay, okay,
It
okay.
was it was to reduce a methoxy group to an alcohol group in an aromatic molecule.
Yeah. Ah, yeah. I can probably guess what molecule this is, but I don't want to say it because look at the.
No, it's not what you think it is.
Oh, okay. So it's something a lot less.
Yeah, it is not
Funny.
sketchy at
Okay.
all.
I mean, the molecule on my head, if you reduce the methoxy group on it, you just get, yeah,
Yeah, you get
you
three,
get you
four
get a
hydroxy
you get a catechol.
aniline.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. What they often
not
do is
aniline.
also
There's no
add
amine on my vanilla. That's literally an aldehyde. You get a catechol. You get a meta catechol derivative of fucking or aromatic aldehyde,
benzaldehyde.
benzaldehyde. Yeah,
Yeah, and you can do some funny things with that
yeah, but
if you wish to.
we're not gonna do funny things with this molecule. Come on.
No, and not and not discuss it in the
No,
podcast,
no,
perhaps.
no, no.
So aluminium triiodide is conveniently prepared by adding 1 molar of aluminium turnings or powder with 1.5 molar with iodine crystals in a liter cyclohexane. And then you stir it and reflux it for
I
4
imagine the
hours.
cyclohexane has to also be dry. How do
Oh
you
yeah, yeah,
plan
it
to
sure
dry
has.
it? Are you using molecular sieves or alkali metals?
What?
To,
No, I'm just reading up my notes.
oh, because I was asking, are you using alkali metals or molecular sieves to dry your cyclohexane?
Haven't decided yet. What do you think is better?
Uh, if you can buy alkali metals, that is way better.
Yeah, yeah, buying
You
it
can
won't
even
be
use
an
magnesium,
issue.
I believe. That
But
also works.
I don't I think buying dry cyclohexane wouldn't even be an issue.
Yeah, but like you still have to dry it again because you can't trust, you know.
Depends on who you get it from. If you get it from like let's say Poland or Russia, yeah, then it's a
Oh
good
yeah,
idea.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. If you're gonna get your chemicals from fucking Allegro or other sources, of course you're gonna have impure
Yeah, okay,
stuff.
okay. Look for stuff like iodine crystals or aluminum doesn't really matter, but like reagents, I've even seen some uh what's it called? Wait, I'm gonna look it up now. It's from Poland and it's some really cursed.
You can share your screen, by the way. Just make sure some tabs are, okay to share.
Yeah, no, I'm on phone right now, so it doesn't really matter.
I don't get the YouTube viewer count because I see way more people in the chat than the viewers, and it's weird, honestly.
Let's see.
Like it shows one, but I clearly saw more than two people typing, or I must be crazy.
Oh, what a coincidence! I get aluminium chloride anhydrous recommended.
Oh my
It's,
god,
ew, it's
Google, man.
yellow.
Of course,
100 grams for €12.50. Well, that sounds like a good deal.
yeah, I mean, what would you even use aluminum chloride for, like anhydrous? I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Like, they're mostly used as catalyst for,
Yeah, exactly.
chlorination of organic molecules.
the useful chemicals are also often priced way higher, not because of the cost to produce it, but just
Because
what you can use
people,
it for.
need it and you can sell it for whatever, basically.
Yeah.
Like, I know several
Oh,
important.
here was it. Carbon tetrachloride, 1 liter for €10. Oh, isn't that fun? Seems like a good solvent, only it's not very eco friendly.
Yeah,
I've thought like explosions and fire prepared it from some old um like fireman equipment,
I don't know.
didn't he?
No clue.
Because it's when you spray it on fire, it makes it go out.
Yeah, definitely. He got it from old fire extinguishers. He
Yeah,
just
exactly.
essentially
Fireman equipment.
extracted it.
Yeah, of
There's a
course it
guy
is
who joined
illegal
and
in
left the server
Australia.
called Bad at Chemistry. Who the hell is that guy? Is that a bot?
What who? What
Like,
they say?
check general. Someone called Bad at Chem who just joined and left the server. Like, what the hell was that? Is that just a joke? That's a hilarious joke, by the way, if it is one.
if he's watching.
Yeah, I just joined with a username called Bad at Chem. That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
What you can maybe also do is like, if you dare put
Actually, if I'm gonna be talk about the Catboy Chemistry Society, maybe I should use my other avatar that actually says CCS on it. S- Or should I stick
mm,
with this one? What do you think?
I think your members really recognize the Catboy appearance of you.
Yeah, because I do have another one, which is the one VTuber that whatever CCS member could use. In fact, that would be hilarious if you can use it. I can send that other one to you if you want. We can
No,
all.
I'm not at the level of Catboy yet.
Okay.
I have I'm just learning how to purr.
What? Yeah, like purring is like
You,
essential to be a cat boy.
yeah, that's step one, wasn't it? And then was throat singing. I watched the whole
Yeah,
tutorial.
yeah. To be a cat boy, you need to no. Purr is step four. Step one is the voice feminization. Like to be honest,
That's
yeah, that's step
that's a bit
one.
harder than purring.
Well, yeah, that's like the hardest part, honestly. Like when I don't add any other techniques, it just sounds like, what's up? How are you doing? Yeah, that's all it sounds like.
It sounds a bit gay, but
Yeah, it
yeah,
doesn't
I
have
can
to
see the
go
point.
all the way. It doesn't have to go all the way feminine. It just has to be
Yeah,
It has to be female enough. You know.
yeah, it has. They have some
Yeah, it just has to.
girl tendencies.
It just has to have that. I mean, I could probably do it better, but I'm not warmed up. But anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
And I
Maybe
just
you can do it. Maybe you can cheat the system by taking some estrogen,
no, that doesn't actually help. By the way, it does not
doesn't it?
change. It does not. You think it?
That's new.
No, it's not new. It literally is known that estrogen does not change your vocal cord length at all.
Yeah, maybe before puberty hits. Maybe then.
Yeah, but testosterone actually does, which is why I'm not sure if we should talk about this topic. It might be head molecule in another way, if you know what I mean. We should stop.
What's testosterone?
No, we're gonna reach topics we're not supposed to, like
Oh yeah,
for other reasons, man. Let's not go there.
yeah. Okay. It's about chemistry, not pharmacology, is
Yeah,
it?
we're not pharmacologists. We're chemists.
Although I know a bit more about pharmacology than chemistry at the moment.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just setting up the computational science of the molecule fitting into biochemical receptors in the brain on my computer.
Oh, that's really nice. We can find all the kinds of weird effects certain things can do to a man, if you know what I mean. For science. Anyway, so I have a question. It's about your plants with a T, by the way. Do you like
Wait,
grow
what?
everything in
Yeah.
the greenhouse like your plants?
It depends on what plant it is because I live in the Netherlands, and when you have this
Cause
Dutch climate, some tropical plants can't really handle
yeah,
it.
I was just wondering about that. Like, does it depend on like the species of plant?
No, it just depends on where they grow naturally. For example, I can share a project with you. I'm already at
Yeah,
the I have the if you know the Ricinus communis, it's considered the world's deadliest plant. It's
yeah.
where the potent neurotoxic poison ricin comes from. I'm making it adapt to the Dutch climate over time and already at F5, which is generation 5. And I can see it already getting healthier than its ancestors did and growing way
You know
bigger.
what? You know what's hilarious? The crop quinoa, that health food stuff. They actually
Mm.
done the same thing, except it was a UK research, where it
Yeah,
normally
well,
only grows in the Andes, but they made a strain that can grow in colder climates. So
yeah,
you're
well,
basically
basically,
doing the same.
making a strain is just making generations over and over and letting
Yeah, and
evolutionists
basically,
or just adaptation take over.
you're basically just planting a whole bunch of seeds and varying the conditions. Like, okay, this
No,
gener.
the thing is, you only need one plant to like give
Uh,
out its genes. If you just plant a bunch, well, you're still at generation two if you use those seeds. Like one is enough if you hope it doesn't die. Just adding more
that's
seeds
so.
gives a higher chance of
Yeah, I
life.
know. Of course, you're gonna use one plant in the very end, but with the next generation, you plant a whole bunch of plants, right? And then see which is the
Yeah,
best
of course.
one.
I have five at the moment. For example, if one gets sick and I'm at generation, let's say eight or something, then I just wasted 8 years.
I mean, yeah. That's why you have multiple seeds and you grow an entire field of generation 3, for example,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
Or how
especially
much you can
ricinus communis.
stuff in your
When
greenhouse.
Yeah, ricinus communis is really it really likes nitrogen, and if you give it a lot of nitrogen and water, it will grow up to 3 meters, and within a year, if the winter doesn't kill it, it can grow up to 1.5 meters in like so quick of a time, and it gives the last big plant of ricinus that I have, it gave 50 seeds. It was
Wow.
crazy.
But ricinus, right? Isn't that like the castor bean or is this another
Yeah,
plant?
yeah, it is. No, no, no. It is the castor beans. Very pretty beans, actually. And
Yeah.
what's the funny thing is, they taste very delicious, but
Which
they're
you can
so
eat
poisonous.
them? What?
Um, no, you can't eat them. But if you eat them, from experience, that I spotted out, they're very
What?
tasty.
You
They have a
tasted
very
rice and beans. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
not rice and beans, rice and beans, and you say they taste good.
They have a very pleasant, sweet, nutty flavor to them.
Oh
But
man, I wouldn't
the
even
thing is,
put that.
you need to eat. Don't quote me on this or prosecute me, but you need to eat at least 10 to 15 to get into some troubles of gastrointestinal complaint.
Ah, so they're poisonous, but they're not as bad. Because whenever I hear ricin, I think of it
No,
as one of
the
those
thing is,
demon.
ricin is very bad, but when it's taken orally, your um, enzymes in your gut will break it down very efficiently because it's after all it's just an enzyme, it's a protein,
Ah,
and your body knows how to handle that. If it's, for example, injected, then even a few um milli
interesting. Okay, I
it's
understand
gonna
now.
cost me 0.01 milligram per body kilogram body weight. That was deadly.
Uh,
And if you know abrin, that's into the same category.
yeah, Abrin is
It's
far
the
worse.
Yeah, Abrus precatorius. It's the Asian relative of. It's not really a relative, but I like to compare them because their poisons are very much the same. They're both proteins. They both act on the same. They both behave on the same mechanism of toxicity, which is inhibiting ribosomes in the
I
cell
have a
different and
question
making
though.
sure. Yeah.
If you cook the proteins, do they denature? Because
Yeah, often they do. And there's, for example, with Abrus precatorius, which is Abrin, there has been a lot of cases where people just accidentally left their bracelet of Abrin beans in their soup or something, and then proceeded to eat them. A lot of it, it's gonna be destroyed, but some will survive. And if you then proceed to take it, well,
it will
that's
make you
you're
sick
not gonna
still.
survive that.
Wait, is
The thing with
Abrin much more dangerous? Because you said even though you cook it.
the thing is the pure poison ricin is more dangerous, but there's a lot little in the seed compared to ricin, where just
I mean
chewing
Abrin.
one seed of abrin is well deadly. It's just gonna kill you. There's no antidote, but for example, ricin, which is also a very larger seed,
Because
you have to eat like 15 or something to get in
yeah,
trouble.
I'm talking about protein-based toxins because when we deal with marine animals, when you
Yeah,
cook
you've
them.
heard of the CIA shellfish toxin.
Oh yeah, but no, I'm talking about like box jellyfish, right? Most
Yeah, yeah.
dangerous, most toxic jelly. But It surprisingly is also very edible. Like even the tentacles, but you have to cook them and throw the water several times before you can eat them.
Personally, I wouldn't even dare,
It's really
especially
good
not one.
though. I've tried it. It's the best noodles ever.
Jellyfish.
Yeah, it's
I've
really
never tasted
good.
it. I've only walked on the beach and poked them at with a stick, but
I even went as far as to go to the beach, get a moon jellyfish, and take a bite out of it.
yeah.
It tastes sour, by the way. I don't know why, but ah.
It wasn't a jellyfish like 95% water.
Yeah, but why did it taste sour and salty? Where did the sourness come from?
Okay, the saltiness I get, but the sourness maybe it comes from, I don't know, some
Maybe some weird
amino
compound.
acids or.
Yeah, probably. But that
Well,
was
anyways,
funny.
back to plants.
Yeah.
Well, what the thing is with abrin seeds, a lot of people don't know that they're actually poisonous while they have it on their wrist, because the thing is with Abris precatorius, they are very very pretty. It's just a
Yeah.
small red seed with a black dot on
Yeah,
it, and a lot of.
I used to have you know, like those like bracelets made of abrin beads. I remember I
Yeah,
had them.
exactly. And the thing is, when with making them, there's a lot of danger in it, and there's been a lot of cases of poisoning, because what you do is you have a needle and you need to pierce it through the abrin seeds, which is very very
Oh,
tough.
so
And if
so
you slip
if you
it, and if you slip it
stab,
into your finger,
yes,
even after poking it with one seed, if you slip it into your finger 4 days later, you're dead.
and there's no antidote. They can't do
There's
some
no
sort of
antidote. Same
special
with ricin.
dialysis or anything like that.
Nope, it's going into your cell. The thing is with abrin, Indian farmers used to kill their cows with it, because the thing is when you inject a lot of abrin into a cow and then inject the blood of that cow into another cow, the other cow won't kill because it's getting into your cells. And that's also the same reason why it's so hard to detect when there's a poisoning. You need very specific test of it
Damn.
to detect it. And also the thing is with abrin or ricin poisoning, the symptoms they look a lot like the common flu, for example. And it's just 4 days of suffering. So when you're already getting to the hospital and they find out that it is ricin, it's already way too late.
But if they catch it early, is there an antidote? Like if you were to like
No, no, there isn't.
because I
But
heard I heard somewhere that I don't know if it was from a movie, but they
you
are
can you can you, you can survive the poisoning. But the only thing is, you have to receive a very low dose of it. You have to be very healthy and strong, and the doctors they need to treat your symptoms really well,
so they
because
only can
the
treat your symptoms. They cannot, you
yeah,
know.
exactly. But the way poisoning of ricin or abrin occurs is because just it kills your cells everywhere in your body, so it basically causes multiple organ failure. And for example, when your liver is starting to break down and releasing all this
Oh
stuff
yeah.
into your blood,
But I
then they
legit
can, for example.
thought that they had some sort of like weird drug that also goes into your cells and can block the mechanism of abrin or ricin that they can inject into you like within a few hours after poisoning. I thought they had something like that because they have that for
I'm not
certain.
aware of that, but
They have that
there.
for certain viral or illnesses. So I was thinking that they must have something for abrin and ricin.
The only miscellaneous thing about about ricin that I know of that's being used in medical sense is that it's used now experimentally to kill cancer cells
It
or
makes
tumor
sense
cells.
though, but like, isn't it like non-discriminate, or did they modify the molecule somehow to only target cancer cells? Because I can't think of a way for them to actually use this effectively and safely.
Maybe just dot injections with barely a nanogram per
Yeah, but
injection,
like,
and then you can somehow, if you just IV it in the, well, not IV, just inject it in the middle of the tumor. Well,
no,
it's not gonna
that's
press
not
very
gonna
far.
work because it's not gonna spread very far. You're right, and Chemotherapy drugs have to be put systemically so they can get all the tumor cells, especially if the tumor
Exactly.
has metastasized. You can't just inject it like a spot because there are so many treatments that involve similar things and they're not effective.
And the thing is, what ricin makes so promising is that it's just getting absorbed immediately by the cell because the cell thinks, oh, that's some healthy thing that I
Uh,
need to make sugar or something. And then it goes into your cell and it prevents the cell from making sugars and all that stuff. So it stops the cell from making copies of itself immediately. So when ricin is absorbed, it's not gonna spread anymore. The tumor
the-
isn't gonna grow as much as with other drugs.
oh man, I thought like, damn. So literally, a possible future like cure for cancer is one of the world's
Yeah, well,
deadliest toxins. Well, it does stop cell division, but then you'd
yeah,
have to
but that's
dose
also
it.
the same case with super potent snake venom because the way some snake venoms work is by clotting your blood, and if you have some, like, let's say, thing where your blood can't clot anymore, then maybe that's the solution or the mechanism where the how the snake poison behaves is maybe the solution how to
Yeah,
treat blood
they
clotism.
do this, but how recent is the research on ricin and abrin for treating cancer?
I believe it was. I have to check it, but I believe it was 2019. So a lot of things could
Oh,
have
it's
changed.
recent. That's
Oh
amazing,
yeah, it
dude.
is.
You know, here's the funny part. There have been a lot of fake cancer treatments, right? That
Oh
involve
yeah, of
deadly
course.
toxins such as hydrogen cyanide. It does not work. It literally
Or
doesn't
or
work.
just or just mercury
Or just
drinks, like in
mercury
the
or hydrazine
dynasties.
or all this horrible quackery. But the funny or MMS even, but the funniest part is we're talking about one of the worst toxins known to man, and it's a real cancer treatment. Like that's insane, you know.
Yeah,
But
but
if you
it's more it's
understand the mechanism behind it, it
yeah, that's
actually
exactly what I
makes
wanted to
sense.
say. You can maybe base a drug or a medicine on that same or design a drug on that same mechanism and tune it by just
Yeah, like
adjusting
making
it,
it
tune it
selective
to
to only
perfection.
tumor cells. Like from what I know, tumor cells are much better at absorbing certain metals than regular cells. That's why they use currently carboplatin as a anti-cancer, a chemotherapy drug. So
Hmm.
what of a weird platinum iridium complex of some sort of abrin protein or something, or even some sort of weird drug delivery mechanism that use nano gold particles or something. I don't know what they're going to come up with to actually deliver it specifically more so selectively to cancer cells. That would be an amazing research.
Yeah, as long as it works, that's going to be a major
Yeah, if it
improvement for
works,
medicine in
then
the world.
you literally have a one punch cancer. Well, it's not gonna be one punch because if you know how cells work, you have to give it over and over because you can't leave a single one alive. But the
Yeah,
goal for a better
the thing I can only
chemotherapy
come
is,
up with now that I've read about
here's
is,
one
for
problem
example,
though: you will still lose all your hair because your hair cells have a lot similar characteristics to a lot of these cancer cells. They divide really fast. They
hmm
produce a lot of stuff. You're gonna lose your hair. You're still that
okay,
that's something unavoidable. You still go
but
bald.
there's also a group of select people who are like way more vulnerable to ricin and stuff. Their body reacts way heavier on it.
Oh, so that
So
means that that
that's also with certain medicines. That's also why,
that
for example,
sucks.
codeine is so shitty.
Ah, yeah. That actually might make sense why. When you give cancer treatments to some people, it might not be as effective because people respond differently to drugs. There's
Exactly.
no such thing as a one-hit cure. Like, what if this guy responds better to carboplatin? So they give him the old chemotherapy and it works fine. This other guy, it does not respond. And it's not to give him the fucking abrin or the ricin or the whatever modified molecule that you've come up with in a pharma, research program. And I think pairing this with like human genome sequencing is actually an amazing thing to do. That's actually
Yeah, but that's
perfect.
also the same with treating, for example, epilepsy. There are like 4 or 5 stages of treatment that they
Yeah,
can
yeah.
do, and most of them work at like the stage 3 or like the
Okay.
heavier, hopeless
Speaking of
treatment.
epilepsy, so many people claim that cannabidiol is the best epilepsy treatment. Is this true, or is it
I
or is it just
I don't
shit?
really have enough medicinal knowledge to confirm that, but I know that, for example, cannabidiol or THC works exceptionally well in treating Parkinsonism.
Wow. Damn. So that's not full of shit. That's actually really
No, no, no.
medicine.
It's actually true, and there's now going so much effort into
Because
researching
what I
cannabinoids.
have seen though is a lot of people in certain places, right? They claim that
Mm-hmm.
this weed can cure cancer and all this thing, but
Yeah, well,
like
that's just
t-
over glorifying
that's
it.
what I mean. A lot of them seem to over glorify it, like to the point where I start to slowly think that are they all
Yeah, well,
just
that's of course
crazy?
not true. It's not because it's now getting to open and the industry is getting a lot bigger now. It's not certainly that you have access to it and it works for you. That is the miracle drug for everything
Yeah,
because it can be pretty harmful too.
that's
Like
what
for
I
example,
mean. Like
THC.
I've seen people like advertise this the miracle drug for this, for that, for everything, but clearly it has its uses. It is really helpful if you have THC or CBD for the right applications. But for the wrong
Mm-hmm.
applications or the wrong kind of mental state, it can really harm you.
Yeah, for example, THC shows like a neuroprotective aspect when it's taken, but on the other side, it can also damage some particular cells in high quantities or extended usage.
Well, yeah, that makes sense though.
Because you just have in your brain an endocannabinoid system, just an own bodily cannabinoid
Okay.
system, and when you take, for example, THC, it just acts as a fake endocannabinoid.
Yeah, I think the
And over
endo.
time, when you keep taking it, your brain and body eventually learns to adapt to this sustained intake of this chemical and changes also the receptor and the enzymes that break it down to like
Shit.
um, to just be in, how do you say that, equilibrium. And when you then take, for example, when the treatment is stopped and you take the whole THC away, well, then there's suddenly your whole body is adapted to this daily intake of this chemical. And then suddenly it isn't there
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah,
Well,
and
then
then
it's gonna
you'll
have a
have
very hard
other
time to
problems. Yeah, I think the
getting back.
natural endocannabinoid is this anandamide, which is this
Yeah, yeah.
weird.
There's a few, but
Yeah, but that one's the one I know.
yeah, there's also for example, I thought there was also a bit peptides that's involved in the
Oh,
endocannabinoid system.
peptides, dude, that's insane. Why can't we just make those instead of THC like we
Well,
make
the thing is that
insulin?
it's insanely long chains. For example, if you look at the opioid system, the peptides that fit on it, there are sometimes even 40 chain
What?
molecules.
Okay, never mind. Never mind what I said. That sounds too difficult. By the way, speaking of THC and all this, there's this the vaping epidemic, right? There have been
Oh
cases of
yeah,
people who had
it's so
issues with
awful.
vaping. Like here's one thing about vaping though. So one thing with vaping is that it a lot of there's this one guy I know. So he claims that THC vaping is okay if you do it naturally, like if you use natural shit. But here's the problem,
Uh,
right? He's one
that's
of those
just the
people.
whole quackery of natural
I
is good,
know.
and
Yeah, but like there's one problem. The reason why the vaping disease happened is because of acetate esters being
now
present.
I thought it was also it produces trace amounts of ketane, but
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's the
the
reason.
the mainly thing that the shitty thing it produces is aldehyde,
Yeah,
and you don't really want that in your lungs. And
yeah.
also they for example, vapors, they say like, yeah, vapes are less toxic or less bad than cigarettes, but the amount or quantity that you vape just waste it out. For example, with a cigarette, you take one cigarette and then you're done. But with a vape, you're just taking 20 hits continuously within 5 minutes.
Yeah, that is true. But overall, I'm just gonna say that those other things, right? It was the ketene is mainly produced by acetate esters. They talked
Yeah.
about vitamin E acetate as
Mm-hmm.
one of the main culprits, but another main culprit is something called THC acetate. THC acetate makes THC more potent, so they can cut it with regular
Yes,
THC.
exactly. I thought it was
And when
even
you add
THCO acetate,
yeah, yeah,
but
when you
yeah.
add THCO acetate into a vape liquid, that will produce ketene when it breaks down as you smoke it. And the worst part is it's not gonna be as potent actually. It's gonna be
But
like
it just it's more soluble in the, for
yeah,
example,
yeah.
polyethylene glycol. That's why they add it, and not some other salt of
But
the
that's
THC.
completely horrible to use for vaping
Yeah,
because
but
you're just gonna
there's so
poison
much.
yourself.
Like 99% of the vapors don't even know the chemicals that they are
Yeah.
popping in daily,
Speaking of
or
that
the dangers.
friend who claims it's natural, he was using THC acetate. And when he coughs, it sounds like his lungs are worse than any other chemist I know. He coughs, and it's like I can hear just destroyed lung tissue with every wheeze and cough. Like he sounds like I don't know. I don't want to describe it, but imagine there's like gum or something stuck in his lungs and it's like
Oh,
making all kinds of weird noises as he
that
coughs and even speaks.
that seems smoker lung, like a child disease.
Yeah,
But
but
also
worse than
talking about
any.
vapes.
I know people who smoke a long time. His coughs sound worse. Like even
Yeah, I
people
can
who have
imagine that.
severe
I've
emphysema, because
I've
he's
even seen I've even seen some oxides precipitating from someone's vape juice. It's horrible.
what what
I've seen oxides precipitate from
what
someone's
kind of
shitty vape juice from
oxides?
AliExpress.
What kind
I don't
of
know. It was some AliExpress thing. So I'm guessing the metal that it heats is getting oxidized or something by the heat.
Oh, here's another horrible thing: platinum vape coils. People think that's safe because, oh, it's platinum, it will last forever. But platinum, at high temperatures, it is prone to converting into platinic oxide. And that's a
What temperature is that? Because the common vape is what is it, like 200 C that it heats at?
that's
I'm not
that's
an
enough.
expert, but
That's enough. That's enough, by the way. That is enough.
okay. Well,
And
that's
if
no
you
good then. If
inhale,
it's
like it's very little, right? It's barely anything because it is platinum after all. But imagine you've been vaping for like 3 years and you've gone through five platinum coils. Whereas all that platinum end up in your lungs. And platinum is very toxic when it ends up in your lungs and inside you. Like it really is very,
like
very toxic.
it isn't, yeah, it isn't the inert um metal, is it? It's just the oxide of it.
Yeah, yeah. In fact,
Yeah, okay, then it makes ions, which are even worse because they're reactive,
yeah,
and you don't want something reactive, positive or negative, which can unbalance your body.
yeah, yeah.
And
So
also the thing is, your liver can't really get them away. Same with lead poisoning.
yeah,
It's
and
or chromium poisoning. It just stays in your system, especially in your brain, because it likes to get in fat. And since your brain is a lot of percent fat, it stays in there. And if you're a bit of a fatty person, it even goes into your stomach fat, and yeah, stays there over time until you lose weight.
that sucks.
That really sucks. Also THC is really fat soluble. So for example, the reason why you can detect THC like 40 days after into someone's bloodstream is because as you're taking THC, it's getting absorbed into your fat, and it's getting released in very small amounts over time, very very slowly.
Oh, damn. So you're basically gonna be high for such a long time.
No, no, no. You're not gonna be high. It's just gonna be present in your blood in trace amounts, which
Oh,
can be detected, of course, using a common drug test.
oh no, so you're never gonna pass a drug test no matter what then.
Not after within those 40 days.
Shit.
And if you're like a heavy smoker who smokes so much a day, it can even stay in your system longer, up to 150 days.
That really sucks.
And there's also talking about quackery. There's also people who claim then because it stays in your system so long that it belongs there. But that's just
Oh
praising.
no. One
Yeah.
weird question though. So, what do you think of these, like that chelation treatment? I'd heard that does not get rid of any heavy metals stuck in your fats.
Wait, say that again.
I heard that chelation does not get rid of heavy metals stuck in your fat, only heavy metals in your blood, which is why that girl who got a small amount of mercury into her skin still died.
Oh, was that mercury? The
Yeah,
organomercury
yeah,
that's
yeah.
researching. Yeah, really sad case how she
Because I
deteriorated
did
over
hear
six
that
months.
basically the you can't get rid of the heavy metals that easily, right?
Nope. And even in her case, like less metal, less mercury was even worse. I remember that from the chubby emo video. I
Yeah,
don't really know the details of it.
EDTA will work, but we're talking about once it gets into your fat. It all these chelators, they just get it out of your blood. I believe
Yeah,
even
yeah.
Chubby
The
Emu
mercury
said,
also really likes to stay in fat, such as all the metals we've discussed. And since the brain is mostly fat and mercury really messes up it, that's where all the deterioration starting to. It wasn't physical symptoms. It was just mental states, and for example, not kind of focusing on things or seeing shadows or disturbed walking, just Parkinsonism stuff.
I just wonder though, is there a means to actually treat that, or are we still, you know?
I think that that girl was it wasn't that recently, but it was recent, and she died. So I'm guessing not.
Yeah, I mean, what can you do? You're kind of screwed at that point, basically.
Also, just leaving, like, if you have mercury somewhere for your chemistry experiments, always store
I
it. Always put a little bit of water above it, so
Yeah,
mercury
I know, I can
really likes to
see.
give it off vapors.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Not
I
healthy.
don't use mercury in my experiments, so we don't have to worry there.
Yeah, you can actually see it under a black light. The fumes it gives off mercury.
But when I was in university, we had a setup that had exposed mercury spilled all over, and he didn't bother to clean it up for 3 years.
Metal.
Yes, metallic
Well,
mercury.
that's a safety hazard.
Yeah, I was asking them, why don't you clean this up? They're like, I don't know. They just said leave it. I'm like, what's in the room? And students walk through here all the time, and there's mercury all over the table.
But it was mercury doesn't really absorb into anything, so
It
it's
was
floating
just
on it.
balls of mercury and a puddle. I'm like, we should clean this up. It's horrible. Like
So it's never left the table for over 3 years.
just get some steel wool, copper wool, or whatever it means, and
Or just
start
even a syringe.
scrubbing.
You can just
No, no,
suck
no,
it up
no,
with
no,
a
no.
syringe.
There's way too much. It was everywhere, and it was also mixed with mineral oil because it was a manometer. They had two manometers next to each other.
Maybe if you add some metal to it and it becomes
That's what I
a solid
said.
amalgam.
That's why you use a copper sponge to get rid of mercury spills
Yeah,
for.
or yeah, okay. I was thinking about a lead sponge, but that can maybe be
No!
also us.
Copper sponge, not lead sponge.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I guess.
Yeah, fair, fair enough.
So it's getting winter now. The My plants are starting to die. I really need to think about which ones I'm gonna save. There's not unlimited storage in my house, so
Yeah, I do. When I thought your operation had like at least like 5 greenhouses or something. I don't know.
Oh no, I just have one and a bit and just a large garden in the forest.
You plan to actually expand your operation into like a, because I can imagine in a few years you have just a whole bunch of farms with weird plants.
Um, I guess we'll see that, but for now it's just a hobby, just the growing of plants. I'm really interested in, well, just interested in the chemistry and pharmacology of some of the plants I do own, and that's not just medicinal, but it's also stuff like atropine or other poisons.
Oh,
Like you know monk's hood, the blue plant,
uh,
Nisilamus.
not
It's
really.
it has blue flowers, and the thing about this, it is phototoxic. So when you just touch it, you're getting
You
poisoned.
can turn people into vampires. Like I heard of the giant hogweed. If it spills
Oh,
on
giant
you,
hawkweed is also phototoxic, but
yeah,
that just gives blisters and burn wounds.
I
Like
know,
Necilus, it will actually poison and kill you.
dude. That turns us people into vampires. As of course, you literally turn them into vampires. The sunlight just kills them.
I've never encountered any phototoxic burn wounds from even. I had a giant hawkweed, but now I have just a smaller one. It grows in the wild here.
Yeah, there's the
I
common
just dug it up
hogweed.
and put it in a pot.
I heard common hogweed is actually edible.
Um, Maybe the roots are. They kind of
No,
resemble a
even the
carrot.
leaves. I have seen like recipes.
That can be as a tea, perhaps. It's
No,
you
they
know
turned it
the
into fajitas, man. They literally put bread
wait
around it
what?
and deep fried it. After,
I'm not really bound to try it out, but if you can send me the source or
I
something or the
will.
video, I
I
would
will
like to
do
check it
it
out.
right now. Actually, uh
Also, there's growing a lot of wild carrot over here, and the thing is,
okay,
it
wait.
tastes so much
I
more
found
of
it.
carrot.
I found it. By the way, I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah, thank you.
This
Well,
is
the wild carrot has such a stronger carrot taste than the orange counterpart, and it's
right,
actually even
right
more
here.
delicious, even though smaller.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, thank you. So what's
That's
maybe funny is to maybe like start a project where I'll be trying to get like bigger wild carrots, just the storage size that you have at the supermarket, because it has a lot more pungent carrot taste, and it even tastes more delicious, although it's a bit more harsh and earthy.
uh,
Cow parsnip fritters. Well, yeah, I'm gonna watch that soon then. Thank you.
yeah. That's basically common hogweed. Same thing.
Is it? Yeah, okay. I've never heard of that name, but
That's the
I'll watch it.
American name of common hogweed, cow parsnip.
Yeah, well, I don't really learn American names. Pretty useless to me. I know the Latin names though. Those always come in handy.
Yeah.
Or have I told you about a random datura that was growing into my kale?
Uh,
Hello, you still
yeah.
there?
I'm still there.
Have I told you about a random datura that was growing into my kale?
I did not know that.
Well, okay, so I was just growing some kale for just edible
Oh,
purposes. And then, like, I was leaving the garden for a week or something. And when I came back, there was a
yeah.
flipping datura anoxia just growing in it.
Damn, that's cursed.
That's so cursed.
Imagine
And I
you put a datura leaf in your kale salad and then you just eat it and
no no
just
no 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 no. I've had my time with datura. It's one of the worst plants that I know of.
you know.
It's I didn't look. I just sent you the pic. I didn't even want to get near it. So I just wore gloves and even a respirator
It's not
and
that
just
bad. It
shut
just
it off.
smells bitter.
No, I'm just scared of it, to be honest.
Ah, because I'm like, it's not that bad if you're not gonna eat it. It just
No,
smells
actually,
bitter.
if you just smell at it, or just it's at the blossom stage, what it is, it will release pollen into the air. It doesn't use bees to spread its pollen. And then the pollen that also contains a little bit of atropine, scopolamine, and hyoscyamine. And actually, a UK woman in the
I didn't.
1700s, they took a datura flower, put a little bit of the pollen into the tea to make their more open while talking. Pretty cursed. That's also
Oh my
in, for
god.
example, Brazil. They have the tale that you never want to sit under a datura tree or something, or Brugmansia as they call it,
Yeah.
because just the pollen will fall down, and if you just happen to inhale a bunch of it, you will have a very bad time.
I didn't think it was that bad because I have been next to those things. It just smells extremely bitter.
Yeah,
And
well, it also depends on which. For example, maple is one of the more harmless species. Well, it's not harmless, but it's less bad. Or just the desert poppy.
so
But
there are
when you
certain varieties that
yeah,
produce
just
more.
Datura stramonium, Datura
Oh,
inoxia, those are the worst. Or some Brugmansia arborea species. Just the dark red trumpet
you
flowers.
want to know something
Those are
funny?
pretty bad
Have you
too.
watched The Happening?
No, I did not.
It's a story about plants making people go crazy. And one of the theories of The Happening movie is
Is it
that a scientist basically created a virus that genetically modifies plants to release scopolamine, like The Happening by M. Night Shyamalan or something.
that doesn't sound very fun.
If you watch it, it actually makes sense. Like the plot of The Happening is like in I don't think film theory talked about it, but one of the theories I heard from someone is that yeah, a virus that infected every plant and causes them to release scopolamine. That's why anyone who inhales the wind, they always show wind blowing towards the people, causes them to go extremely mad.
Yeah, but the issue with that is like to make scopolamine. Mostly the nightshade family makes scopolamine and henbane and such things. Even tomatoes make it in trace amounts.
Yeah,
But you need some. But for the biosynthesis of scopolamine, you need some
I know. It's
chemicals.
just like with any other biosynthesis pathway.
Yeah,
You have to
some plants just
check.
can't make them.
Yeah,
For
yeah, yeah.
example, you can't expect a cactus to make atropine.
I know. But I'm just saying that it's a movie. You gotta give them some credit. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just dipping into the science stuff. If I remember correctly, the biosynthesis of scopolamine requires hydrogen, which is then just not alkylated, just turned into tropinone, and then tropine, and then you that's the precursor for all the hyoscyamine and tropane alkaloids which you can make with
Yeah.
it. Also the coca plant, which just makes cocaine. It's also a tropane
I know
alkaloid, which is
that.
also derived from tropine.
Coffee, imagine coffee making.
Yeah, you can even turn atropine into tropocaine and then cocaine, but that's for another talk.
Ah, speaking of, there's a coffee plant out there that also makes DMT molecules. So yeah,
What type of molecules?
yeah, DMT. Like there's a
Oh
coffee
yeah,
that produces that as well. That's hilarious.
yeah. It's DMT and other tryptamines are very common in the plant world because they're
Yeah,
such an excellent
but I
poison against.
wonder, wait, what are they poisonous against?
Just everything. Also against humans. 5 hydroxy DMT.
Oh yeah, that's a
It's
potent cardiotoxin. I know.
yeah, it is. Well, a lot of them are, but for example, 5 hydroxy DMT, also called bufotenin.
Yeah,
It's just even a little. It's gonna make you
it.
while producing a very slight psychedelic activity. It's
Yeah,
gonna make you sweat, beat your heart profusely.
I
It's
heard
not
that they
it's
tested
not
it on
pleasant.
prisoners and their lips and veins turned purple or something because it fucks with your
Yeah,
heart.
yeah, that does, and also a lot of just as you said, you can find, as I said, you can find a lot of nature. Bufotenin you can find in the Adenentogrina sebile or the yopo, which are both family, just species of the same family, which are just flat seeds which contain a lot of bufotenin and a little bit of 5-methoxytryptamine. But the thing is, people use that indigenous people to retrieve enlightenment or seek spirits or
Yeah.
something. But now the Western world is trying that, and they're hopelessly overdosing all them
Oh
on the
yeah.
bufoten, that
That
giving them
sounds
stuff.
really bad, honestly. Because the
It sounds really
bufotenin
bad.
is not even pure 5-MeO. It has the
No,
5-OH.
it's 5 hydroxy. It produces also weak psychedelic activity, but there's still some people who
Dude,
think they
that
can master a shaman's experience. But
uh
how the way a shaman makes is just by crushing up some snake shells and doing shit with bird bones. And then there's
yeah.
some Western guy who thinks he can do some funny with it, and then he just gets a stroke.
Damn, that's cursed. 1 second. I have to close this. I also heard a story that some ayahuasca that was spiked with bufotenin killed like a tourist or something. Who did it
Yeah,
in a
well, often
shady
it's not just it's
shaman that
on
isn't real.
yeah, well, often it's done not just on purpose spiked with bufotenin. When working with plants, the dosage is it's very hard to determine because what it sounds like is that the plant just had a bit more bufotenin than normal, and
Yeah.
maybe it was a very high dose or concentrated ayahuasca, and that
Yeah, that
well
that
that
makes
gave that sort of
sense.
effect.
But yeah, so I
Also,
there's
it's
also
just a
some
bunch of
evidence that
terrorism.
DMT is not actually found naturally in the brain. I watched some documentary, I believe Hamilton.
Well, it has yet to be found in human brains, but it is very it's found in rat brains and cow's brains and even pork brains.
So I
But in
guess
human brains, it has to be found yet.
so there's
It's
a high
claiming,
chance that it actually is in our brain.
yeah, but it hasn't been discovered yet because humans are very evolutionized, and the thing that DMT will used to be an or maybe still is, we don't know, a neurotransmitter for sleeping regulation or
Don't we
dreaming.
use
That's just all
melatonin
speculation.
for that?
Well, there's theory that DMT may be evolved into melatonin because they're very similar after all, but they're both produced. That's the thing that I wanted to talk about. They're both produced in the same exact area, which is the pineal gland. And all
Yeah.
DMT that has been found in brains has been found in the pineal gland, where also melatonin is produced.
Uh, so basically, in humans, we might not even have it. We have melatonin instead.
While animals also have melatonin, it can be a very
So
ancient
you might have
version.
both, maybe? I
Yeah,
don't.
maybe it just makes it as a trace amount and it has little or no use. Or it does have a big use, but we haven't found it out
Yeah,
yet. It's all
because
speculation.
it's all mystery shit, to be honest.
Yeah. It, I don't find it worth speculating about things if you haven't proven it yet.
Yeah,
Like if there's strong evidence for something, well then you can maybe speculate. But
yeah, but there's
when
not.
when yeah, it's just being legalized. Research is just starting to kick off. Like scientific companies and psychedelic companies are just starting to arise now from the ground since it's being legalized for medicinal purposes and just scientific purposes.
Yeah,
Like the loophole now in the law is like if you were to extract a lot of DMT from human brains, you were basically being you are gonna be processed for making DMT or extracting DMT. So yeah.
what? That's just whatever, to be honest.
So
Loop.
what's that molecule on your head
It's vanilla.
in your profile pic? Oh,
Yeah.
is it actually found in vanilla? Does vanilla give vanilla its taste?
Yes, and it is found in vanilla.
I guess
But there
that's where
are
the name comes
there
from.
are up from what I remember 42 different vanilloid compounds
Oh, yes,
that
I see it.
that
Ethyl vanillin,
yeah,
propyl vanillin.
that
Yeah.
essentially
Oh,
have a similar effect, and some of them don't even look like vanilla. That's why vanilloid.
apisinin. Oh, this one's is just benzaldehyde vanillone.
Well, anything with benzaldehyde, come on, that's gonna be. similar. But I heard some of them really don't look like vanilla. I saw this really big cursed one once. Like it was when I had a job interview in a perfume factory. The whole
Hmm.
place smelled really bad, by the way, because I have a very strong sense of smell. That place is gonna fuck me up. They
Even
had
after even after so many years of chemistry,
oh
your
yeah, my
sense of
my
smell is
sense of
still good.
smell is still really fucking good. Anyway, I'm saying that they had all the types of vanilla, and I go into the storage and it just smells like vanilla, but I can't. I'm just like I can't smell any. It's just so strong. It's like imagine,
Yeah,
man. You know,
doesn't seem that healthy. Also, that high
yeah, to
concentrations
be
or ppm of
inhaling all
chemicals.
kinds of solvents, and they barely worked with any PPE. Like all they had for they just had a whole bunch of fans blowing outside. That's all they had. And they just pour
Yeah,
these
the,
industrial size containers and bottle it up through smaller ones by hand. They don't even have a proper pipe injection system. They literally have two
yeah. Well,
guys.
that's all extra cost, which the company doesn't like to make after all.
Yeah, but it's kind of cursed if you think about it.
Yeah, but from an economical standpoint, it's just, hey, I'm rich, and the rest, well, this system is working. Why should I give more money
Yeah,
into it
yeah.
if I get the same result?
That is true though. That's why. And you'd have to don't have to worry about replacing the parts. You just have to pay someone's salary.
Yeah, and if they don't have very high standards, that's even better.
Yeah. Anyway, that place was very cursed. They don't really know what
Yeah,
direction they were doing, and the actual workplace was in an airport free zone, so they spend even less money.
I see.
Yeah, that was funny and sketchy at the same time.
So maybe this winter I'm gonna be making my own mustard from my mustard seeds, which I'm gonna harvest pretty soon. Just a mustard plant. If you just take the leaf of it and chew on it, it has a very pungent, very pleasant mustard taste.
I knew that. I eaten mustard leaves before.
It's very healthy too.
I heard that radishes are similar.
Radish.
Yeah, daikon radish.
Uh,
Like raw daikon radish.
haven't I? I'm not sure if that I have tried that before, but
Wait, what? That's like something I eat almost all the time.
I've eaten horseradish, but the one that you're describing, I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's many kinds of radish, but daikon radish, it's milder than horseradish.
I'm looking at it right now. No, I haven't eaten that one.
It's really
Looks like
nice.
it looks like a white carrot, very
Yeah,
big carrot.
that's what when I was a kid, I always thought it was just an oversized carrot.
It looks like something that we have here in the Netherlands, an indigenous
It looks like a parsnip or
vegetable.
something, right? Or a turnip,
Yeah, I only know the
but it's
Dutch word for
not.
it. I'm not my English vocabulary of um vegetables is not very large.
Oh,
Well, I'm bound to try this out if I can get it.
wait.
I mean,
Someone in the
probably.
chat said that gophers eat castor beans. That's hilarious.
Wait, well,
YouTube chat.
what? Hmm,
They say that gophers eat castor beans. Well, maybe gophers are like immune to the ricin in them. That'd be
yeah.
hilarious. Oh, speaking of another thing related to DMT, right? I was in
Mm-hmm.
India and there was Mimosa hostilis just growing everywhere,
Yeah, just any flora.
or whatever it is, similar plant. But I don't
Yeah, well, it's just acacia trees, but yeah,
yeah,
go on.
I don't think they actually use it for anything there. It just grows wild.
Oh no, no, they do use it also in Brazil and stuff, but not for the
Yeah,
ways
for
we are using. They use it
painting.
for. It's an excellent dermatology product.
Really?
Yeah,
Seriously?
it is. Yeah, it is. It's also a very nice wood. It's very sturdy and it's purple. Do you know it?
Yeah.
The Mimosa teniflora. It's a purple wood,
Yeah, I know.
and you can make pretty houses of it, or just paraphernalia,
Yeah.
just boxes and
But
stuff.
I didn't know that it quite literally, sells that easily. Because, like I heard, I always wonder. I hear it almost everyone I know in some places are able to get their hands on this stuff somehow. You know,
Oh yeah, I on a personal note, I do have a lot of Mimosa hostilis for my own company, but I get it personally from Brazil. But if you do want to get rich, just start a company there in India and start selling it to the Western world. It's a very big upcoming market right now, and a lot of people are
really, and
paying.
and it's still
Yeah,
okay.
well, this
Like it's not like
yeah, it is completely legal.
yeah.
Only when you start doing extracting the DMT from it or other illegal stuff, then
So you
yeah,
can
that's
sell the wood in any form, but the
yes,
moment you
of course, because
start,
it's just wood.
yeah.
It's just wood with a
But
spicy
then I heard in
hint to
in
it.
uh in, in Australia, they even banned the wood.
Yeah, but that's pretty hard there because it grows there naturally, or at least the
Oh
acacia
yeah,
portion of it.
it does.
But Australia is just the worst place if you, yeah, want to start or do something similar over there.
Like I mean,
But
funny. How the hell does explosion fire get all these chemicals in Australia?
he, well, I know for sure that he buys it from Onyx Smith. It's
But
just Poland.
but
But
how? How does he get through customs, man?
it's very very hard. But maybe that he has a PhD in chemistry or chemistry education
Because I
and
even
actual lab maybe
heard that the
helps.
fucking
He al- he,
magnesium
al- he
stearate.
also discussed once that he got raided by the police because they were thinking he was making meth.
Imagine.
Yeah, dark life of him.
But it depends on what
But
country
also
you're
for
in,
example,
Some countries it's easier or harder to get away with chemistry.
yeah,
Any chemistry, whether it's,
Australia seems like one of the worst places to
yeah,
do chemistry in. Just any, like even if you need aluminium turnings, you need to explain what you need it for.
damn. Like, from what I know, there are certain countries where it's very easy to do, where even if the country
Um,
is totally authoritarian, they don't give a shit, you know?
yeah, well, that's for example here the case. It's you can get here in Europe, for example, chems very easily, but depending on where you live, it's gonna be some hustle to get it. But if you live, for example, in Belarus or Poland or something, no one is gonna check it. No one cares.
Yeah, that is the thing. Totally,
That's also where the big chemical, well, just off the charge chemical companies are based, just Russia and Poland.
that makes sense.
I believe you can even get like 10 liters of fuming nitric acid there in Russia, and no one gives a shit.
Yeah, I mean, that does make sense. With fuming, you mean we're talking like
White
99%?
or like white fuming.
Wait, what can you, like, honestly, what can you use WFNA for anyway, besides very specific nitrations that really require, Because
Well, if you just dilute it, you just have any percentage
yeah,
of
yeah,
nitric acid
I
solution, or
guess, but storing that is scary because if it comes into contact with any organic stuff, it will just catch fire.
yeah. Well, anyways, it was been very nice talking to you, but
Yeah, I
I
have
have
to
to go
end it
now.
now because I have to sleep soon anyway. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'll see
Are you
all
gonna
of you
save the
guys.
stream?
The streams are automatically saved. So
Oh well,
yeah, in
awesome.
both
I'll
platforms.
be sure to watch it back someday.
See you guys.
So well, have a good one.